Hello! Before we start the video proper, I wanted to let you all know that my Twitter account was actually unbanned, if you can believe it. So after 7 years, they have determined that I should not have been banned in the first place, and now I'm back. If you're interested, you could follow me there, at YourPalRags. Now, on with the video.
I'm not sure for how long the term content creator has been so ubiquitous.
Yeah, me neither. Now, YouTube has been using the phrase creator to refer to its contributors for a long time now. It's got to be over a decade at this point. And content is a pretty generalized way to refer to the stuff that's put on these platforms, so I can believe it just came organically.
Have we been commonly using this phrase for 5 years now, or 15?
I don't know.
At this point, I honestly couldn't say, but a cursory glance at the Wikipedia page for user-generated content reveals this passage, which to some is going to seem uninteresting, and to others, maybe a little bit spine-chilling. It certainly chilled my spine.
Okay, you're really building this up to be something super-duper creepy, so if it isn't, I'm gonna be really disappointed in you. And I'm not going to believe anything you say ever again.
User-generated content was featured in Time magazine's 2006 Person of the Year, in which the Person of the Year was you, meaning all of the people who contribute to user-generated media, including YouTube, Wikipedia, and MySpace.
I suppose it's a bit unusual, but I can see the reasoning behind it. User-generated content was really starting to get big and have a huge impact on culture, so I guess Time's way to recognize that broad swath of those contributors, many of which are just normal people like you and I, was to make them all this sort of broad, plural Person of the Year, sort of in recognition. And here's the magazine's cover from that year. It even had this reflective film on the cover that would work like a mirror. Hey, look, it's you. Hey, that's kind of neat. I'm still waiting on the spine-chilling part you mentioned, though. Maybe that's coming up next.
Now, I know to any millennials watching that pointing out how 2006 was nearly 20 years ago is cruel enough in and of itself, but I also think it's kind of wild and shocking and unnerving that we've been using phrases like user-generated content for nearly 2 decades.
Why is that shocking and unnerving? I have no idea why you think that. People get on the internet, and they put stuff there, so we had to call it something. And I guess that one little excerpt from a Wikipedia article was supposed to be the bone-chilling thing you mentioned, which is incredibly disappointing.
But why? Why am I so shaken by this? And why do I find that Wikipedia page so nauseating?
No. You didn't say nauseating before. You said it was spine-chilling. This made you afraid. It terrified you. Being nauseated is not the same thing. You're already changing the story. The video just started, lady.
Well, to put it bluntly, the phrase content creator, it's a title that evokes in my mind the image of an artist, a writer, or a filmmaker stumbling along awkwardly on a hamster wheel in a factory called capitalism.
Oh, okay. This is gonna be one of those videos. That's fine. I think if you ask most people what content creator refers to, they're gonna say almost exclusively normal people who upload videos that they've made and videos that they've taken and pictures that they took just onto like TikTok or YouTube or Instagram or Tumblr. Tumblr's still around, right? I don't think when you say content creator, people will go, ah, yes, David Lynch and Christopher Nolan. They're probably not thinking of Hayao Miyazaki or Wes Anderson. And they're almost certainly not thinking about authors, as in writers of books. They're probably, almost certainly, going to be thinking about people like you and I who upload videos to YouTube or who have podcasts. They'll think about big Twitter accounts. And I don't think that really anyone, for the most part, means that in a degrading way or derogatory way. It's just sort of a useful catch-all way to describe people who create content on these sorts of platforms.
Of course, the vast majority of us live lives and work jobs governed by capitalism.
Yeah, it seems to be an extremely successful and versatile economic system that has sort of proven itself over the others thus far. Seems to be the least worst model that we've sort of adopted.
Our paychecks are signed by companies, brands, and corporations. I know that.
I just think that the pragmatic reality is going to make that the case, regardless of the economic system. It will take a company or a corporation. It will take the cooperation and teamwork of a bunch of individuals to come together to create products that are complex and numerous enough to keep up with the demand. There are plenty of jobs and tasks that can be done by a single person. I mean, I've hired them, you've hired them, I'm certain, freelancers and individuals, small business owners and entrepreneurs, but a lot of the stuff that we need in society just can't be done by individuals on their own.
And even those of us in the arts, musicians, authors, actors, etc., are still spinning those capitalistic wheels when we need people to buy our art, our merchandise, our books, tickets to our shows, and the list goes on.
Well, yeah. It takes time and effort and materials, organization, and expertise generally to create plays and albums and sculptures and video games and books and all that stuff. These things aren't created with effortless desires of creation instantaneously. People don't just snap their fingers and boom, it's a play, it's a book, haha. It's one of the reasons why so many people value the arts. Real art, not AI-generated garbage, to hell with that. If somebody wants to make the arts their job and their career, then there needs to be some way of sustaining oneself through that art. Which is why currency is such an insanely popular and successful economic concept. And this, of course, only applies to people who want to make the arts their job. A lot of people just have art as like a little side hobby, or they just keep it to themselves, and it just gives them personal satisfaction.
Our music is on paid subscription services like Spotify. Our movies have ads and sponsors and product placements. We spend time and money on marketing, making our art feel more like a product than, well, art.
Yeah, because we want a lot of the arts to be sustainable economically and be able to spread it to a lot of people. These are the things that give the artists and the creators of these things the ability to make it their lives and to turn their hobbies and passions into careers. If it wasn't for all this stuff, then a lot of that simply wouldn't be possible. And when it comes to marketing, well, I mean, you've got to tell people that your thing exists if you want them to see it. And that is a service. That's a work and effort of its own. You're not going to attract attention and let people know that your thing exists if you don't go out and tell them. That's what marketing is. And obviously, the strategies of marketing campaigns can vary wildly.
And so we grit our teeth and we do what's necessary in order to live the freest lives that we can possibly live, given the society into which we were born.
That is just the nature of reality. There's nothing we can do to change that. If you get together dozens of people to make a big Broadway show, then you're going to have to just, well, grit your teeth and bear the idea that if you want to make money, you're going to have to pay people to market it so that people know that your play exists. You're going to have to compensate all the people who gave their time to practice and train and get ready for the show. You're going to need a venue to sit people comfortably in a way that sort of, complements the experience of watching a play. You're going to have to make sure that money is made for all the people who work in that venue to deal with the lights and the seating, and it's got air conditioning. You see, it's a massive web of interconnected systems that work together. Now, if you don't care about making money at all, then a lot of this stuff you don't have to worry about. You can just perform the play to nobody. It could just be for you, and you could take the satisfaction that you've created something, or you can film it and record it and say, hey, if anyone wants to buy this, da-da-da. As far as living the freest life possible, I mean, you don't want the freest life possible. No one does. We extol the virtues of freedom, as we should, but obviously, taken to the fullest extreme, you don't want that. No one wants the freest life possible. And if anything, it's the people who don't seek profit and doing it for its own sake and their personal satisfaction who are the most free. A single artist just making something that they want to make for themselves, that's as free as it gets. You don't have to depend on anybody else. You don't have to worry about anybody else and being fair to them. But you ain't the only person on the planet. The moment you get other people involved, the moment you need other people's services and skills and expertise to bring your creation to the world, well, now you're dealing with other people. It's not just about you anymore. And that's everything, not just art.
And while I admit that dwelling on all of this for too long does make my heart sink, it doesn't evoke the same gut-churning, fist-clenching, visceral rage reaction that the phrase content creator does.
Okay, calm down. And I don't know, maybe I see it a little bit differently. When I look at a play, or when I look at a movie, or when I look at a video game, isn't there something to be said about the fact that a whole bunch of people, a couple or dozens or hundreds or maybe even thousands of people come together with a combination of skills and talents and passions and have a vested interest in cooperating together to create a piece of art that they can then show to the world? I mean, obviously there are cynical corporate kinds of, aspects to this at times. Yeah, sure. But I don't know. Don't you think that this is kind of a good thing, that we can all come together and cooperate and do this? Maybe the fact that we're encouraged under this system to cooperate and work with others to create better things is maybe more of a boon than it is a curse.
A great many people sit in their classrooms or their office cubicles and they daydream about being content creators.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of people want to be content creators for a lot of different reasons, and maybe it's the reasons behind that desire that are more important than the desire itself. Wanting to do it just for the money and the fame, that's not necessarily bad, but that's certainly different than a genuine desire to want to share your passion with the world and maybe improve people's lives and whatnot.
Self-employed YouTubers, TikTokers, and bloggers with large audiences and semi-passive incomes. And as someone who did just that, I won't sugarcoat the fact that being a YouTuber is certainly a whole lot better than being a high school English teacher.
I have no idea why, if you have a problem with the phrase content creator, you can so casually call yourself voluntarily a YouTuber as a title for what you do. That's just a content creator who makes content specifically for YouTube. Why would you call yourself that? If your issue is with capitalism and linguistics, then you have, without a single thought, without a moment, a tiny iota of doubt in your mind, taken on the corporatized word YouTuber to describe the title of what you are. I am a YouTuber. I'm someone on YouTube, the website, the Google-owned website, the corporate entity. I have no idea how you don't consider that title more corporate dystopian than the term content creator. In what way is that different from saying, oh yeah, I'm a Walmarter, I'm a McDonalder? Methinks it's because you're not being consistent.
But this isn't about how good or bad the job of content creation is. It's about how grotesque this title we've been stuck with is.
I don't really care about it myself either way. It seems pretty neutral to me, just a generally useful descriptor of a broad swath of people. I'm certainly interested in hearing your proposed replacement term. Maybe it'll be a whole lot better.
Because what does content creator really mean?
Someone who creates content.
What is a content creator?
Okay, so I know the answer to this question, and you know the answer to this question, and I feel like everyone watching this video knows the answer to this question. Content creator is not some strange, unknown phenomenon of a term that arose out of nowhere and means nothing and doesn't have a generally quite unified, shared understanding, okay? But boy, I am locked in. I am so ready to hear what you have to say about it. Just be entertaining about it, please, God.
Well, typically, when we talk about content creators, we're talking about people who post videos, images, or writing to various online platforms like YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, or Substack.
Yeah, that's pretty much what everyone thinks about and means when they say that phrase. Yep, pretty much.
These content creators also throw a bit of their own personality into the things that they create, in order to add a bit of color to the things that they talk about, and also to build up a parasocial relationship with their audience.
Gee, cynical much? You know that personality is just sort of like an emergent element of a person when they communicate or express themselves. I'm not trying consciously, I guess now I am because you just mentioned it, but typically I'm not trying to consciously be like, oh yeah, make sure your personality shows, Rags, whenever I do these recordings or edits or anything. It's just something that happens, because it's me doing the expressing and I'm a person. You just said content creators throw their personality into what they create in order to add flair and to create a parasocial relationship. You said and. You said they do both of those things. And yeah, I'm going to be a bit pedantic, and I am going to be picky with the verbiage that you use, Willow. And I'm going to hold you to a higher standard than most when it comes to this stuff, because, well, that's what you present yourself as. You present yourself, well, here, let me read it from the bio from your website. I am an author, poet, and critic. There should be a period after critic, because it's the end of a sentence. Oh, God, no. You don't have a grammatical error in the first sentence of your About Me, where you say that you taught high school English for several years, which included creative writing, journalistic writing, and critical analysis before teaching at schools and universities in China, Korea, and Japan? No, you can't have a grammatical error in the first sentence. Willow, what are we doing? What are we doing, Willow? Come on. It's the first sentence. But yeah, wait, what were we talking about? Sorry, that actually kind of distracted me.
These content creators also throw a bit of their own personality into the things that they create, in order to add a bit of color to the things that they talk about, and also to build up a parasocial relationship with their audience.
Oh, right. I remember. Yeah, my personality just comes through naturally whenever I express myself, whether it's to other people or when I'm alone, because that's just what a personality is. I would say that most content creators are pretty genuine with their personality, right? And I think that's ultimately maybe negative, because a lot of content creators out there just don't have good personalities. Maybe they should fake having a better one.
And as for the nature of the content itself, well, we could be here all day just discussing the sheer breadth of that particular spectrum.
Oh, true. Please God, I hope we're not, though.
Content creators might have backgrounds in education, animation, journalism, theatre, sport, music, or they might simply be very colourful personalities who draw audiences in with their thoughts on anything from popular culture to politics and religion.
Did you guys know that content on the internet can be many topics?
Content creators come from all walks of life, and they produce content that ranges wildly from one creator to the next.
Wait a second, are you saying that not all content on the internet is the same?
The only real mainstay of the job is that they provide their audiences with information or entertainment mixed in with a little bit of their own personality.
Yeah?
And it is this exact breadth of content styles, genres, delivery methods, and backgrounds that has me balking and feeling sick at the term content creator.
Okay, so I'm going to guess that you take umbrage with the term because it's overly general of a group of people whose output has a lot of variety within it. But you having an English teaching background, you should know that this is sort of a necessary aspect of any categorization of this nature, right? I mean, I assume you don't take an issue with the category of element because the periodic table has such variety in it, right? The creative output of different authors and directors, right, is vast. But I assume you don't have a problem with those terms. Yeah?
See, language matters, words matter, and that goes for titles as well. But the sinister thing about this monstrous term called content creator is the way that it takes so many disciplines, so many titles, so many jobs, and it smushes them up with its big meaty hands into this gelatinous blob called content.
So how come you don't have a problem with the title artist? That's just as broad. If anything, it's more broad. I mean, the word content just seems to be the word that we use to describe the general media that is inside something else. Of course, it refers to physical objects like what are the contents of this box? What are the contents of this bottle, etc. Will you be proposing an alternative word to describe all these things?
Are you an animator with your own cartoon series? A series that you design, write, voice, and animate either by yourself or with a team? Cool! Being an animator is an impressive talent and a wonderful expression of creativity. Oh, you post your animations on YouTube and TikTok? Well, you. You're a content creator now.
I have absolutely no idea who actually thinks this way. If anything, we want people to put their stuff on platforms that are popular so we can find them, so more people can see their work and talent on display. Especially considering that if you are a content creator and you're putting your stuff out there, it's essentially all for free. You and I, and pretty much everybody out there, as long as they have an internet connection, they can look at all this stuff for free. The idea that content creator is such a denigrating term, this is a you thing.
Are you an academic with a background in philosophy? Have you turned your back on traditional means of presenting your research and your ideas? Do you instead want to reach
the cringe glazing of this loser.
A broader audience without the frustrations of academic gatekeeping?
You know, it's funny when you say that. I think of all the the young Earth creationist types who make their own little publications where they could submit their papers about how the world is actually 6,000 years old and evolution's a lie. And that's what I think about when you say, you know, getting around the academic restrictions.
Great. So, you turn to Substack and YouTube? Well, you. You're a content creator now. Speaking for myself, I am sick of being called a content creator.
Well, you are a content creator, though. Like me.
I am not a content creator.
Oh, let me guess. You don't self-identify as a content creator. Okay, all right, sure. You're a content creator.
I am a person with a great many skills.
Yeah, and that doesn't disqualify you from being a content creator.
And I have found ways to monetize a lot of those skills. I am a professional critic, writer, and teacher.
I guess I'm a professional critic. My left ear just started ringing for some reason. Oh, now it's gone. That was weird. Sorry, what was I saying? You were talking about how great you are?
I'm also a published author and poet.
All right, well, let's check out one of your poems. From thepoetrylighthouse.com, Willow Heath. Willow writes queer and feminist poetry from the trans-feminine perspective, exploring themes of liberation, mental illness, and social struggles. She can often be found around Glasgow. Glasgow? Attending open mic poetry nights. Well, boy, if I'm ever in the neighborhood, I'll make sure not to miss those. How about we read her latest submission on the Poetry Lighthouse? Let's see. It's called My Tits. Alright. My tits! My tits are growing, and it frightens me, the new and the unknown of it all. It's a new body I make out of me, a new shape built from discarded parts, making me. My tits hurt, and it feels good to feel the pain that tells me what I am is entirely real, and that I finally just get to be myself. My tits feel good, and it is nice to enjoy a touch of them and even a kiss on them, and it's not a risk to feel like this, and with any luck, I'm done. My tits are mine. They fit who I am and who I'll be. Without them, I wouldn't be me. There was... Really? Without them, I wouldn't... There was a time when I couldn't see how it would feel to be wholly and simply me. That's dog shit. I don't know, maybe if I was as terrible at writing poetry as you, I'd think it was capitalism's fault too. I don't call myself a poet, never would, but I bet I could just scribble something together that's better on Notepad. Ahem. Here I sit upon my chair, on curly tail and derriere. Inside the screen there whines a gal, whose wishes get she never shall. Terminology replete of categories not concrete. YouTube's cruel and evil plan to rob us of attention span. Content creator is the phrase upon which YouTube turns its gaze. But I don't think it's all that bad. In fact, I'd say it's rather sad that someone claiming to be wise has fallen for this shoddy guise. It's just a word. It's no big deal. I promise you don't need to squeal. A title maketh not the man. In thine own self your path began. See, you're the professional poet. I'm just a dog on the internet, and I just clomped that out in Notepad just now. I just feel we should have higher standards for people who call themselves poets. It's not hard, but still, come on.
As well as an editor, hire me to edit your books.
I don't know much about your book editing skills. Your video editing skills are pretty bad. How come you can't say a sentence or two without having to chop it up and cut it and splice it to pieces? Seriously, what is up with that? I've been noticing that all over the place, where people can't seem to just sit down and read a sentence or several sentences or, God forbid, a short paragraph without needing to cut and splice and edit in different takes from different sentences. Like, just sit down and read. Just say the words. Just read. I don't know why you have to do it. Aren't you an English teacher?
And none of this is content. These are skills that are mine, and I make money off of them.
And none of that excludes it from being content. If anything, it's good that you have skills that you can put out into the world that can be put onto platforms where people can, interface with them and be an audience to and enjoy or mock and ridicule. And then everyone can sort of profit from that, both in a financial sense and in other senses. Yes, these will be kind and say your skills. It is your creation, your art. But in much the same way that a sentence is the contents of a page in a book, your work, your art, your expression is part of the contents of a website that you upload to. It's content that you create. You're a content creator. You seem to have a very personal, vindictive kind of attitude to this term that people just don't really have.
I'm good at them, and I'm proud of them.
Well, you're not good at the poetry, but you can be proud of it, I guess.
Words like writer, editor, poet, teacher, educator, critic, these things all have meaning.
I feel like a lot of the arguments that you applied to content creator can actually be applied to all of those terms, in the sense that they're overly broad and too generalized, and it's an unhelpful category. It just depends on how nitty-gritty you want to be with it. This is why you shouldn't stress too much about how a category isn't precise enough.
Content creator is entirely void of meaning.
I mean, if we want to be technical, no word has a meaning so much as a shared understanding. When it comes to words, they don't have intrinsic meanings. Dictionaries are descriptive, after all, not prescriptive. And for a term that's void of meaning, I bet if 100 people in our audiences were asked what this phrase means, you'd probably get 100 fairly similar answers.
My content is work that I'm very proud of, work that is hard to make. It takes thought. Sometimes I'm educating people, other times I'm entertaining them. Either way, I'm not just churning out content.
Well, hold on. You're adding churning in there to give it negative connotation. You're kind of poisoning the well here. Not all content creators just churn out content like it's a content mill. And that's not even fair, because some content creators, some artists, right, they're very prolific in their work. They can just hammer them out and they enjoy it. And it's a great way for them to express themselves. They take great satisfaction in it, even if they do it very efficiently. Obviously, some people do churn it out like it's a product, and they don't pay too much mind to the artistic process, and we can both agree probably that the former and the latter are different, but they're still under the same umbrella. No one ever said that the phrase content creator was a precise or super accurate category.
I am doing my best to educate, entertain, and inspire people.
Oh, try harder.
And yet, despite all of my ramblings and all of my protestation, in terms of the general parlance of the internet, it is all just content.
I don't like it when people slip in those tactical justs into a sentence to try and degrade or minimize something. It really is a sort of micro-poisoning of the well. It's not just content. It's content. No need to say it's just something as a way to belittle it as a concept. Content can be amazing, content can be terrible, and everything in between.
And I am just a content creator.
Yeah, this one's you. I don't think that I'm just a content creator. I think I'm a content creator. I make all kinds of stuff. If you want to belittle what you do, you can do so if you wish, but I'm not going to do that to me or to the other people that make amazing stuff out there. Do you think that all of them want to be called just a content creator and not a content creator?
Whether you're a musician, a teacher, an actor, a filmmaker, or a journalist, if you use a large internet platform to dispense your art or your education, you are a content creator.
And you're kind of starting to repeat yourself a bit without giving any real reasons for anything. And again, you could throw up all the, ooh, look, there's green slime on the YouTube icon. Ooh, see, that means that being a content creator is a bad, belittling thing. Ooh, is capitalism scary? Can we try a little bit harder?
You create content for audiences to consume. And there's that other nauseating term, consume. A word that we all use without even a hint of irony.
Not only do I think that the phrase consume, as in to consume content, is not ironic, I actually think that it's rather appropriate. And it can go into a positive aspect or a negative aspect, but I think it's really appropriate. I'll explain why in a moment.
We are not being entertained, inspired, or educated by content. We consume it.
Well, speak for yourself, because I am inspired and entertained and educated by content, because the content that I choose to consume is those things. Are those things? No, content is those things. If you do not get entertained or inspired or educated by any of the stuff that you look at on the internet, I mean, you have nobody but to blame but yourself. It's out there. It's free. There's a limitless amount of those things out there, more than you could ever possibly hope to watch in 100 lifetimes. And it's just right there. All you have to do is go for it. And if you're not going for it, then listen, I don't know what you're watching. It ain't what I'm watching. The stuff that I make have inspired people. It has entertained people. And the stuff that my friends make have done those things. I mean, I don't know why you're belittling yourself and the work of others by saying, oh, it's just content. It's not going to do anything for you. I don't know. I don't know why you'd say that. What gives? What's with this self-loathing just because it uses a title you don't like?
We consume it. How revolting.
You've gone way too far to look way too deep into the title content creator as some sinister, subversive, linguistic scheme cooked up by capitalist propaganda. I think you've actually missed what I would consider to be quite an appropriately deemed verb here, to consume. I think this is a really fitting and accurate word to use for how we engage with content on the internet. To consume, like food. We take it into ourselves, and it becomes a part of us. There's good food that nourishes and sustains us in a healthy way. It gives us vitamins and nutrients and all the things that our body needs to not just survive, but to be healthy. And there's junk food. Food that's not supposed to really make us healthy or to flourish, but it tastes good and it satisfies those little basal urges we have, you know? It makes us swell up. And it's okay in moderation. A little here, a little there. But junk food does not a proper diet make. And you can probably see where I'm going with this. Content is something we choose to take into ourselves, and that content can shape the kind of person we are, in a way that food can quite literally shape the person we are. It can shift and change our opinions on the world, and it can mold the way that we view the things around us and other people, and it can teach us almost anything that we want to know, as long as we actually care to go out and take it in, to consume it. Content can be healthy and delicious and nourishing. It can be satisfying, and it can be a vice. It can be a sugar, a sweet. It can be all those things. If I said the phrase media diet, then you'd know exactly what I meant by that, because the two are so closely linked in concept. And you, Willow, you've touted your credentials quite proudly in this video, so I admit, I'm a bit disappointed that I have to be the one to explain to you why it's pretty intuitive and very appropriate that a word like consume is used in this manner. Me. I'm just a lay dog. Just a degreeless, salt-of-the-earth guy who hasn't written a single shitty poem at all.
This takes me right back around to capitalism.
Oh, rapture.
Content creators might have freed themselves from the 9 to 5, but they are as much a part of that machine as anyone else.
Yeah. They have jobs. They produce something for society, and they get money for it. Kind of keeps this whole civilization thing going. Many of them, it's not their job, it's just a hobby, and they make some, side bucks off of it. It's like a little pay-in side gig, and that's neat. And a lot of people, it is their proper job, and they devote a lot of time to it, and they get their money for it. I mean, that's good though, right? That's another option that capitalism affords people to do if people have the skill and the talent, and there's always going to be an element of luck to it, to make a passion or a hobby of theirs something that they can devote themselves to and get paid for. I think that's great.
And this language declares that fact so brazenly, so unashamedly, that it makes me feel ill.
No, it's not some nefarious linguistic plot. It's just a good descriptor. That's all it is. People who make stuff put the stuff on websites. The stuff that the websites have is the content of the website. That's all it is. Don't look too deep into it, man. Sometimes a rose is just a rose. And maybe you're ill because of all those shitty poems.
It all feels like it's just a distraction, a snack, an indulgence.
I don't think anyone is distracted by the phrase content creator. I think this is a you thing.
When our viewers clock out at 5 o'clock and they open up a video app, the language of content creation and consumption tells us that they aren't turning to things like YouTube or TikTok to be entertained or inspired or educated.
And yet, every day, millions do.
They are staying on that capitalistic treadmill, but instead of making money for their corporate overlords, they help make money for someone else's by consuming content.
Jeez, where to even begin? It's like actually talking to a child. Oh, where to begin? Okay. First off, fuck it. I'm going to go to bat for corporations a little bit, all right? YouTube, an insane service. It is an incredible service. What an unbelievable, damn near unprecedented repository of entertainment and knowledge, all right? And you can access it for free. And you got to pay for an internet service, but you can access YouTube for free. Unlimited content, as much as you could possibly watch. Hundreds of lifetimes worth of content that you just get. You can just click on videos and watch them all day. You can get the equivalent of college degrees worth of information from just watching YouTube videos. Pretty much any hobby. Boom, you can learn everything there is to know about it for free because of YouTube videos. The only reason that we have stuff like YouTube is because there's a big corporation behind it who's willing to eat the cost of it. And I'm not trying to suck off Google here. I'm just telling the facts as what they are. That's what it is. I know it's really cool and neat to shit all over corporations all the time, and I get you. I'm there with you, all right? I'm not some corporatist weirdo. But the truth is that it takes a Google to have a YouTube exist. All of these massive services that fund all of these massive projects, it takes a lot of money. It takes a corporate-sized entity to make that happen. You and I, our jobs here, they wouldn't exist without them. So maybe don't poo-poo them too much. No, know where the line is, all right? Know where the line is. Secondly, you come home from work and you watch a YouTube video. Now, does Google make money off of that? Does YouTube make money off of that? Maybe. It could be a negligible amount. It could be a not negligible amount. It depends on your personal behavior. But when you go to the store and buy food, yeah, a corporation profits from that. When you have to go buy a car, yeah, a corporation profits from that. Unless you buy used or from secondhand stores and sellers and stuff like that. That's the way that you engage with capitalism. You have so many options, it's really up to you. If you want to pop on ad block on a video, and if you don't want to buy YouTube Premium, or if you want to do stuff like that, yeah, you could minimize the way that YouTube gets paid through your interaction with the service. You can do that. You can do that for free. However, let us also consider that, yeah, Google probably profits in some extremely tiny way from your individual contribution to the website if you are a viewer, consider that your viewership does relatively far more of a substantial impact to the creator of the content that you are consuming. If you send, and look, obviously I have a vested interest in you doing this. I'm a content creator. I make YouTube videos. I run a podcast with my friends. So keep that in mind, right? I'm not acting like I don't get anything out of this. But if you were to say, send me a super chat of $10, yeah, Google takes 30%. I get 70%. What do you think matters more? Me getting $7 or YouTube getting $3? What do you think's more impactful to the lives? YouTube provides this incredible, massive free service that is incredible. And yeah, they deserve a cut of the super chat. I'll say it. It's annoying that they keep 30%, but I mean, that's just the truth. YouTube deserves a cut. They provide this insane free service for everybody. There, controversial opinion stated. Boom. Yes, corporations and companies, and quite frankly, individuals, if you choose to go that route, will profit from the way that you interact with the economic system. That's the one you've got. And it's a pretty good one, actually, warts and all. Obviously, it has issues. Obviously, there's things I'd change. Obviously, there's things I'm not happy with. But I suppose if these are the kinds of problems that we're sitting around talking about together, maybe that's just an indicator as to how amazing life has become for humans in the first world.
All of this just serves to diminish what so many content creators offer, both from the perspective of the creator and of the audience.
Speaking as a content creator, I don't see how any of this diminishes my work. If anything, it has given me an opportunity to put my work out there to hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people that I would have never been able to do if these services and systems were in place. Please, you're going to have to be specific. How does this diminish the work? Because, I'm going to be honest, the only one who's worked to diminish it so far has been you.
We don't have a teacher and a student, or a performer and an audience. We have content that is consumed.
Yeah, you seem to be engaging with this in an incredibly unhealthy and, quite frankly, retarded way. If you want to have a teacher and a student relationship, then go to school. If you want to have an individual performer-audience relationship, then go to see a play. Or go put on a production for your friends or whatever. When we're talking about the internet and the content that's on websites like YouTube, that's not the dynamic in which it operates, and it never has been. Also, if I want to learn something on YouTube, I can literally watch like teachers teaching me things on YouTube videos. It's not going to be a personal connection, probably. I could probably message them and stuff, but we don't want to get too parasocial with things. The strength is that they can make a video and they can give it to 1 million people to watch freely whenever they want. The negative is that, yeah, it's obviously not going to have the kind of personal one-on-one connection as a result. But that doesn't have anything to do with capitalism. That's any dynamic where those numbers are involved.
And at this point, I do want to clarify that I'm not trying to diminish the work of content creators.
Oh shit, I didn't watch this far in the video. I legitimately didn't know that she said this. Okay, I mean, look, you could say that you're not trying to do that, but you are. You just are. And it's ironically in the language that you are using. For someone who cares or claims to care so much about language and that words have meaning, you're trying your damned hardest to belittle the terms and the creators and their work here. I mean, remember what you said, right? If you put it on YouTube, it's just content. Oh, no one watches content because content doesn't inspire you. Content doesn't educate you. Content doesn't entertain you. These are the things you said, not me. I stand in stark opposition to these statements. You're the one who said it. Voluntarily. No one made you. You chose to do it. And maybe, I might give somebody the benefit of the doubt and say, they didn't mean to say that, or it came off wrong. But you personally tout your literary-related acumen proudly in this video. So you don't get off the hook for that. You're the one who talked about how much words are important and how much they mean things. So maybe watch the things you say and be a good communicator, teacher.
I'm not trying to belittle their dedication, their talents, or their art.
No. You just took a massive steaming dump on it because they chose to put it on YouTube where it can be accessed and enjoyed by thousands and thousands of people.
I am also not here to patronize anyone who enjoys YouTube or TikTok.
No, you just said that nothing that they make is educational, entertaining, or inspiring. No, of course.
After all, these are places that offer bottomless amounts of education, information, and entertainment.
Yeah, which makes it really weird that you said the things that you said.
None of this is about insulting content creators or their audiences. It is instead an indictment of the language that we have all been taught to use and has all become so gut-wrenchingly normalized.
Still waiting to hear your arguments on why that's the case.
It doesn't matter how enriching or exciting the content we consume might be.
Well, it does matter. If anything, it matters more than anything else. That's why we call things like slop, right? Slop content or AI slop. We have words dedicated to content that isn't any of those things.
By reducing this beautiful breadth of art and education down to something as vague, empty, and toxic as content.
Firstly, it ain't all beautiful. Secondly, content is just a category. It's a broad category to describe a broad set of things. Nobody is under illusion that it isn't. And third, it ain't toxic.
Which is then consumed. We are diminishing its power, its wonder, and its importance.
Okay, yes, we get it. You've said this many times before. Tell us how. Tell us how it does these things. You're running out of video time here, and I've heard your premise multiple times. I promise we get what you think. Can you please, for the love of God, present an argument why that's the case?
By normalizing the phrases content creator and consume, we are conceding that the talents and output of those who make inspiring, entertaining, and educational art and videos on the internet have as much substance and meaning as that of the junk food made by Hostess or Cadbury's.
What? No. When? Where? Who does this? Who does this? I want an example. Who looks at really well-produced, informative, educating, and entertaining videos and says, you know what, this is just stupid junk food? I mean, I guess there's some people who would say that because there's a 7 billion whatever people, and some of them are bound to have a terrible opinion. But I don't know if we should base this entire premise over the tiny, tiny minority of morons who might say that. Nobody, I don't think a single person in the entirety of the cosmos looks at all of the videos across YouTube and the internet and says, yeah, it's all just the same. Yeah, a good video, and a bad video, it's the same. It's all just slop. It's all just content. Who does this? I've never heard this until you've said it here. You're the first one.
We are making it seem as though the videos we watch after work, videos that take time and energy, originality and intelligence to painstakingly make, have the same nutritional impact on our minds and our senses as the popcorn we eat while we watch them.
Oh, Ma, it's actually worse because you've identified sort of why we use the term consume. But you, instead of seeing consumption as a potentially good or a potentially bad thing and linking it to why we need it and why we desire it, you've just declared, no, it's all junk food. If you're consuming something, it can only be junk food. It cannot be a well-rounded, delicious, master-crafted meal that we can savor and that enriches us. It's only popcorn at a theater. It's only junk food. It's only candy and sugar. There are meals that I had decades ago that I will remember. In the same way that there are videos on YouTube that I've watched that are over 10 years old that I remember to this day because of how good they were. And there's plenty of memes that I saw 20 minutes ago that I've already forgotten.
Those of us who work for big companies do jobs that make our bosses richer. And sadly, those of us who make content are doing the same thing for the shareholders at Google and TikTok.
Yes, and they deserve to make a lot of money because they made an incredible service that everyone can access, and they took the risk with all the capital that it took to make it happen. I'll say it again, when you give $10 to me in a super chat, Google gets 3, I get 7. I literally profit more than Google. Google is just the one who's created the infrastructure to make all of these payments and all of this video hosting possible. Yeah, of course they're getting money from it. They should, and I'm getting money from it. I should. That's how this works. What's the problem? Are you saying that Google and that YouTube should not make any money? They should just, out of the kindness of their hearts, pay for and maintain and update YouTube? Actually, they should stop updating YouTube. But do you think they should just not make any money from this ever? Just out of charity, they should provide this service to everybody?
These are things that you know as well as I do, but it's the gall of referring to all of this as content that is consumed. That's what really sickens me.
It is the content on a website that audiences consume. That's just what it is. They're just calling it what it is. If you would like to propose an alternative, I would gladly hear it. It seems that these phrases have been adopted by a huge percentage of the population because they're just accurate and intuitive.
We must remember the weight of titles like teacher, journalist, artist, author, filmmaker, philosopher, or musician.
Nobody has forgotten them, I promise you. But if you are going to come up with a phrase that included all of those people and the things that they create and put onto a website, and you wanted to refer to all of them collectively, what phrase would you use? We say content creator. And if you want to be more specific, we have more specific words that we can use. It's the beauty of language. With bated breath do I await your proposed alternative.
We must remember the value of art, entertainment, education, and information.
Yes, we should value these things, especially now when a lot of entertainment is commodified and as we get into the emergence of AI slop being everywhere. It is important that we give value to the talent and good execution, the work that goes into acts of creation and expression. Yes, sure, true. However, I think it's just an unfortunate byproduct, as it is with anything, that if you get an unlimited supply of it for virtually no cost whatsoever, and you have access to it whenever you want for however much you want, then it does give it a sort of devaluing in our minds, right? We don't value it the same way. It's not precious to us anymore because we can have it whenever we want for no cost, right? But that's anything. That's not just the content on a website. That's everything. But we shouldn't let that aspect cloud our judgment and make us not value these things because we have access to it. If anything, we should appreciate the fact that we have access to these things, and we should appreciate the work that content creators put into their work so that we can consume it. A lot of people work hard on some of these videos. We should value that. We should appreciate it. Sometimes it's easy to lose sight of that. It's easy to not think about it.
These things inspire us, and they change us.
But if I call it content on YouTube, then it can't do any of those things, but I'm totally not belittling it.
They enrich our lives and make the world a better place.
Well, not all of it. I saw a Skibbity toilet toy at Walgreens. Maybe that was a mistake.
But when we reduce all of these things down to content that is consumed, we diminish their impact and their importance.
No one is reducing anything to anything by calling them these things. Again, this is a you thing. This is you looking way too deep into these phrases. Nobody has ever watched an amazing, inspiring, beautiful YouTube video and gone, oh yeah, but we call it like under the broad umbrella of content on the internet, and it was made by, and I'm like sort of consuming it. That's the word we use. So actually that video wasn't good at all. No one thinks that.
In an instant, it all goes from being meaningful to feeling meaningless.
No, nobody thinks that way.
It's just more insubstantial stuff, void of nutrients and goodness, churned out on an endless conveyor belt.
I mean, it clearly isn't. People are very entertained and inspired and educated by these videos all the time. I don't know why you keep repeating this, as if repeating it is just going to make it be that way.
To serve as a distraction to the drones who watch it.
Yeah, I just don't know how you can say stuff like this and then say, oh, but I'm not belittling the people who make it or the people who engage with it. No, I'm not no, not me.
But that's not what we are. We were never drones.
Well, you aren't ever one if you don't behave like one and think like one.
We are and we remain people who are in search of good art and meaningful entertainment and education.
Yeah, and guess where a lot of that can be found?
And the teachers and the musicians and the artists, the journalists, the philosophers, the filmmakers, the people who make all of these things, they're not just cogs in the machine.
Well, I don't think they're cogs in the machine. I don't think... Hey, do you guys think that philosophers are Oh, fuck philosopher? Okay. Yeah, maybe some of them are.
They are creative people. We are all creative people who make meaningful things that enrich each other's lives. That goes for everyone.
I don't know what planet you live on, but there's a lot of people who are not only not creative at all, but don't create things that are monumentally important to other people.
Whether you are labeled a content creator or not, we are all creative individuals with talents and intelligence.
You know what? I'm glad you think that.
There is no such thing as a content creator, but thinking makes it so.
I don't think of myself as a content creator. I guess I am. If people were to ask what you do, I might casually say, "Oh, I'm a content creator. I do podcasts and make videos and stuff and live stream on, whatever." But mostly it's because I don't want to talk about it in the real life with all the other dogs, because I'm a dog. But I've never thought like, oh, I'm a content creator, therefore what I make can have no value. And it's not actually creativity. It's just a product that I churn out without any soul, that it's not going to entertain, inspire, or educate anyone. I've never had this attitude. It is bizarre to me that someone could be like, oh, I could be kind of generally classed under the field of content creator on the internet. Therefore, I just like my brain shuts down and I can't handle things anymore. It's bizarre to me. Oh, okay, that's the end of the video. All right, well, that sucked. I was at high hopes. When someone says, yeah, I've got this, I went to college and I was a literature teacher and I did poetry and stuff. You're like, oh, okay. So I could probably expect some really smarty pants stuff out of you. Well, consider me disappointed, sister. That one sucked balls. The way I see it, you are a thinking person. And when you hop on the internet, on your phone, on your computer, wherever it is, right, and you get on youtube.com, you have endless possibilities in terms of the content that you want to consume, right? You can learn about any hobby you want. You can learn about any historical event or time period you want. You can learn how to do anything. You could learn different languages. You could just go there to just be entertained, to watch old episodes of TV shows that you missed, or whatever it is. It's endless. You guys know what's on YouTube. I don't have to explain this to you. You know what I'm talking about. Now, if all you want to do is watch garbage slop all day, then you can. You can do that if you want. You can watch junk food all day. Or you can watch something that maybe is a bit better produced. Something like really good music, or good TV shows, or really awesome, informed, creative videos that people make. It's all up to you. This is your choice to make. And that is what determines whether or not you're a drone or not. Yeah, it may be on some shallow sort of reading, it might seem like the term content is sort of belittling it, but I guess I've just never thought that. It's never occurred to me. I was like, oh, it's content. It's a very neutral descriptor of what the things are on the websites. And it's there for you to consume. Because I don't think that calling it consumption, the way that you have consumption in your media diet, I don't think that these are bad things to call them. And if there is a terrible reason, if there's an argument for why we should never use these terms, then I'm all ears. I'm happy to hear it. Maybe I can have my mind changed, but you're going to have to try a little bit better than, capitalism bad. Do better. Thanks for consuming the content I created, guys. I really appreciate it. And another reminder, yes, I got my Twitter account back. Isn't that weird and crazy? After 7 years, I got my Twitter account back. So, if you want to follow me there, go for it. Do it. Bam, at your pal Rags. And what are the creators of content that is consumed to say? Oh yeah, like the video, subscribe to the channel, all that stuff. Boom. Thanks very much. I will catch all of you later.